Hey guys, this is here bringing you another video, and welcome back to an episode of Huzzy Spectates. Now this one's a little bit different, and it's one that I actually mentioned I may try to do in the next couple of weeks, and we're doing it. And that is, this is a challenger game, and how I found it basically is the Gangplank, who is called VGIA Yoppa. I don't know who he is, but he is actually the highest rating person on EU West with about 1200 LP. So I went through his match history, and I was like, I'm just going to go on a champion that I like, so Gangplank. And let's just watch a challenger game, and we're actually going to, if I change the perspective, we're actually only, wrong one, we're going to focus in mainly on him and his team, and you guys will have to let me know if you guys want me to do that. Do you want me to be able to see everything? But this game that we're starting with challenger games, we're just going to look at the Gangplank and see what he can do. Just to mention, there are a couple known people in this game, so, well, I presume so. One of them I 100% know is Kasing is on the enemy team, so that he plays for Splice. And then this person, Rockat, he might be one. Again, I don't follow the ULCS, but he's got Rockat in his name, and he's in a top challenger game. So I presume that is a guy from Rockat too. But anyway, let's get into it. Again, you guys will have to let me know what you think in the comment section. And if there's any other champions that you want me to focus on. Because again, I was like, I want to see a challenger Gangplank. If there's something I want to see a challenger Azir or a challenger, you know, let me know in the comments and I'll try to find that. And it's a good way to see what they do differently. Because I know my Gangplank, there was an episode a few days ago. I like my Gangplank. I know it's good, but he's the top challenger player and he's a top lane main. So what does he do different? So just to say the overview, so these guys are actually going for an invade. Gangplank's gone up to top lane. But yeah, they're going for an invade with not a crazy amount of invade mechanics. Like they've got probably Camille. She may take E. You can see spam pinging is happening from the Camille herself. But you've got a Swain who could take E. You've got a Zoe that could take sleep. And then you've got a Pyke that could take Q. So they have okay. I just don't think it's an insane amount of damage to like kill somebody instantly. Also, just to say on the enemy team, they've got a guy called Talon Lon Farm. So again, this being a top challenger player, it would probably be pretty easy to say that's a Talon one-trick, and he may be one of the best Talons on EU West. Anyway, there is like a potential blue buff steal happening. No enemy team right now. I have no idea where they are. But again, just to say what the comp is on both teams, Talons in mid lane, is that, again, no AD carries. This game was played a few hours ago, I think. No AD carries. You've got a Swain versus a Syndra in the bot lane with a Pyke and a Rakan. Personally, I've not seen that myself. I've seen, you know, Brands. I've seen a Twisted Fate. I've seen, you know, Vigors. I actually haven't seen, though, a Swain or a Syndra. Those are new picks. Anyway, Gangplank has got Kleptomancy. He has not gone for the Grasp the Undying build. He's against a Poppy that has gone Grasp the Undying. He started his Sapphire Crystal. She's got a Doran Shield. And again, if you're wanting to go into what probably should be happening, Poppy with Grasp the Undying should be trying to basically burn the Gangplank's mana. That'd be like, oh, hit me. And that's probably what she's happy about, because one of two things. One, she's got Grasp. So if she gets through his mana, well, then obviously he's got no mana. But secondly, she's got Doran Shield, so she can even regen. You can see Gangplank has got through half of his mana, and Poppy's full health. Poppy's full health without using any health potions. So already, I will say, for a challenger player, this is where I don't think there's much point him auto-attacking or queuing the Poppy. I think it's a relative waste of mana. The only benefit of it, I would say, is he's probably doing it to try and proc his Kleptomancy. Because again, if you get a gold bag in one Klepto proc, then sure, that's worth it. But so far, it doesn't look like he's had any, unless this down here isn't working, and he has had some. But I don't think so. Unless it might be frozen. If we close it and then open it again, does that fix it? Potentially, I don't know. Probably not. Maybe that's just broken. Again, the Riot replay system has been out a few years now, but it's not perfect. Anyway, I think Graves potentially may have gone like to have a little look around this area. We do know that there was a ward in there. And again, just remember, everything on the minimap is what this Gangplank can see. So if we see Graves pop up on the minimap, technically this Gangplank could have seen that as well. It just depends if his eyes were looking there at that time. So yeah, he is going to continue his poke. So he has now finally got his Poppy's potion out. And what I will say, I think what is actually broken on this replay is potentially the potions. You'll see this Gangplank has 100% used both refillables, where actually he just used another one. Okay, so then now it's actually started to update. There we go, it's all updated. You can just literally see that everything is now getting updated. Cool. So it might be fixing itself. But now that he's but Poppy's got 0 mana, you've got to ask yourself, what is he wanting to do? What he's probably wanting to do is farm as quickly as he can, get to the gold that is required for Sheen, and actually go back pretty quick. Because you'll see here, Poppy is wanting to go for a kill, and Gangplank is in a bit of trouble. He's got Flash, but she's got W, and he's probably gonna die, but they trade. Who is that worth for? That's actually worth for Gangplank. 100% worth for Gangplank. 1, he outscales her. 2, it gives him more early gold. And the earlier you give Gangplank gold, the more trouble he'll most likely be. So I don't think that was a good... Like, it was a good play to nearly kill the Gangplank, but that's honestly where I think he should have ended it. Interesting point. I will pause the video here. Why, while the sounds continue, why is he teleporting here? And this is actually something that I need to get better on in my top lane play. The reason why he's teleporting here, because if he didn't, this lane would be easily frozen by Poppy. If you count the minions, it's a very basic thing of doing. Just very quickly, look how many minions are there. There's easily 12 minions, roughly. On the enemy team, there's 6 or 7. That means it's a negative push for this Gangplank, that it's going to be pushing into her territory, which he does not want. So he's teleporting in, most likely, I would predict, to try and push this as quick as he can to get the lane to reset. Or we'll see. Poppy has also followed up with her teleport, so that might counter it out. But that is the reason that he's teleporting in. He really doesn't want that to, you know, freeze. So you can see he's using barrels. He's probably going to barrel, again, pushing it as quick as he can to try and get that to push. You either basically get it to push in to go to the tower ASAP, or because there's so many minions, you force Poppy to use her AoE to clear it. So the one, I'd say, benefit that this Gangplank has got is Poppy actually went Bammies, which obviously is 100% a pushing technique. So Graves comes down straight away. Gangplank is already warding to replace his vision. So after the vision ward is dead, Gangplank already knows if Graves is going to go for that gank or not. Meanwhile, they do get a kill on mid lane. You also have vision of Graves going to the mid. But as I said, we're going to be mainly focusing on the Gangplank right now. You'll also notice he is down on farm. So this isn't, you know, this is the top challenger player right now on EU West. It's what I've said all the time. The biggest reason I dropped Gangplank is because he relatively has a hard early game. He's the #1 challenger player, and he's down like nearly 10 CS to a Poppy. That's not because he's a bad player, obviously. That's just Gangplank. He's just not very strong in the early game. So Poppy did ding level 6 before him. He's got to be a little bit careful because he can easily get chunked. He is going for occasional damage, but then going for a bit of an engage. He's walking away from his tower safety. The reason he's doing this and why the Poppy should be concerned is look where Camille is. The sole reason why he did that is because he knew Camille's coming in. One mistake also Poppy made, by the way, was using her W just to run away while they get a kill. She used W to get away, and again, what that Poppy should have been questioning is, why is a level 5 Gangplank wanting to fight me? Meanwhile, he throws his ultimate in the bot lane. He's going to pick him up, potentially an assist or nothing. Why is he engaging on me? Well, the only reason a level down Gangplank is going to engage on that Poppy is if Camille was there. Okay, just to explain, why is he basing right now? Again, lane control is something that I need to improve on. It's to maintain lane control. So earlier in this game, when you guys saw that he teleported when there was a big minion wave and he teleported to stop that freezing, he based at this point to actually have a freeze himself. So you'll see here, by the time he gets the lane, they may hit the tower a little bit, but he has then control that the minions are more... It's actually that is literally the most perfect back timing I've seen in a while. Wow. So he timed it to go back, and now this minion wave is just here. Like, this Poppy, if she's smart, she'll walk in this minion wave and press Q, because she needs this to push. If she didn't AoE push that, Gangplank would have frozen that for 5 minutes. Like, that's the thing. And that's where these challenger players, I'll say what you're already noticing in this game that is completely different to, like, even Diamond games, is just in this top lane, we are seeing so much lane control. So much like tactics of how to control your minions. I'm teleporting now so it pushes in and I don't get frozen. I'm going to go back now, even though there are still minions in my lane, to create a freeze that Poppy has to try and push it. It's really smart, and honestly, again, this is the type of thing that in LCS and that, the commentators don't even mention that much. But this is the skill of League of Legends. Like, it's the little things that don't really seem like anything That's what makes a challenger player a challenger player. Meanwhile, the Poppy obviously is going for trades. You have to remember she's got Grasp. Gangplank doesn't. Again, I don't know if the items have remained bugged because I don't think we've seen anything Kleptomancy related. I don't think we've seen a gold bag. I don't think we've seen an elixir or potion or a ward or a mana potion. So I do think there's a little bit of breakage with Kleptomancy in the replay file, but oh well. So, okay, so right now, Poppy, he knew she was in that bush. Again, you do as the Poppy is nearly low on mana, but again, she has to be going. Okay, earlier, Gangplank only engaged on me when Camille was here. You've got to think the same thing. So he was going for as much damage as possible there, even so much as using a control ward just randomly in a bush. And what the Gangplank also has to know, and what he will know, meanwhile, a little fight is happening down here. Who will get there first? Most likely, Flash coming from the thing. He is abandoning, which I think is very smart to do. Because he had no, mana. Graves actually misses his flash there. He's going to continue trying to survive, but Talon is also top lane. He uses his W, manages to potentially survive, and takes out the Talon. So that is where, again, decision-making, perfect decision-making, like a robot decision-making, that he had mana for both his Q and his W, or one of them, I believe. I think he only had mana for one, and he chose to go for the W over the Q. I think he also got an auto attack in, but that's just decision-making. I imagine the vast majority of players in that situation, and he also gets a kill with his ultimate. I imagine the majority of that players in that situation most likely would have queued in that situation. I'm going to do damage to the Talon. We're going to kill the Talon, but not thinking of I can survive and kill him by pressing W. So again, perfect decision making. So before the 10-minute mark, this Gangplank has completed his Triforce. If we look into the gold, he's currently sitting on an overall gold of 4,300, way more than the Poppy, like a ridiculous amount more than the Poppy in top lane. You'll also notice, again, just to say, that's a Talon one trick in Challenger. He's 0-3. He's worth 2,500 gold, nearly as little as the support. So that Talon is having a very rough time right now. And Talon, just to say, is a very strong champion in the current meta. So this is where I personally would want to see the Gangplank try to take a bit more control of the lane. Potentially start pushing it in, getting vision in the tri-bush to have confidence that he can push. Clearing these control wards if he wanted to. But taking control, he's got his Triforce. Poppy should not fight this Gangplank at the moment. But yeah, he's got his Triforce. That's a big power spike. Again, Poppy has a very, thing that she does, that she uses W at the wrong time. Poppy ultimate doesn't actually make the Gangplank travel all that far. Poppy going pretty low. Gangplank putting his barrels down. Also notice the positioning of his barrels is actually very aggressive. Camille goes to the play, does get this, the flash out by the Poppy. But again, very smart play by the Gangplank. You'll notice as well, he didn't put himself in any danger in that situation. He didn't basically take hardly any damage. He uses barrels as a deterrent. That he put the barrel on top of the Graves. And what does that do? Well, that makes the Graves have to make a decision. Do I walk to the Gangplank here and ignore the barrel and, probably get chunked? Or do I have to take care of the barrel? He had to take care of the barrel. Poppy, for some reason, just got half health as soon as she came back to lane. Don't really know why. They're going for a dive on her. Putting a barrel again. Just remind everybody, putting a barrel on top of the champion. He's tanking the tower to make sure that they don't die. They are going for a very extended dive there. Gangplank picks it up while Pyke goes down, so that's a bit of a mistake. I do think the mistake potentially came that he went for the execute and didn't execute. But yeah, once again, this Gangplank is the epitome of a safe Gangplank that isn't risking his life to do things. I've already noticed the big difference between this guy's Gangplank and mine. I always, and I pretty much mean 95% of the time, start my barrels on top of me and then try to expand the barrel outwards. This guy's doing the opposite. He's putting a barrel on top of people and then looking what to do apart from that. That's different. I would not put a barrel on top of an enemy because you'd always think it's going to get cancelled or whatever. Again, this Talon's had a very rough game. Goes in, has to flash away. Again, Gangplank uses ultimate, by the way, on the tower and bot lane to try and clear the minion wave. But there are 4 people in bot lane, so my team has to be careful. Swain trying to dish as much DPS as he can. While Gangplank, by the way, gets the first tower in the game. But again, it was a good Gangplank ult because it stopped the enemy team on the tower, gets rid of the minions. That gets rid of the confidence in able to push. That's a very loud Pyke. Meanwhile, we'll actually go back and watch what happened there because I don't know how Poppy would have killed him. So he's basing. Okay, so he's basing. He has not noticed the Poppy until very late, and then, yeah, I pretty much think that she just killed him by himself. Puts a barrel once again on top, just gets killed. So that's a pretty big mistake by that Gangplank. So that was like, I don't know, like lack of paying attention or too much confidence that he just based like really close to the Poppy. And the Poppy punished him. Again, this is Challenger, you have to remember. So Challenger players are going to punish mistakes like that. And Challenger people do make mistakes. So many people think it's weird when they see pros or challengers make mistakes. You have to remember, they are human beings. Like, they're not, you know, exempt from making mistakes. Anything could happen. Your phone rings, the doorbell goes, you know, anything. That, you know, the Gangplank could have been not paying attention there because his phone may have rang. Like, you never know. That's the human element to solo queue. But yeah. So again, now he's building, I presume, a Yumu's for the movement speed and obviously the penetration. But he is staying top lane. He actually did use his teleport there, which I presume he wants to maintain pressure, so that's why using the teleport. Graves is there, which will enable them to take that relatively easily and for free. Poppy returns to the top lane, and Gangplank is actually farming a little bit in the jungle, which is something that I don't even know if it's worth doing, but he's doing anyway. Getting them all low, so he did it probably for the Silver Serpents. But again, he's got himself pretty low from that. Going to use W to heal up, and that's where a situation that he should stay away from the Poppy. Uses his W, doesn't have any, like, you know, CC removal anymore. Pyke, I think, goes for a dive, and he gets punished for it, so he does go down. Syndra uses Flash, though. Barrow, again, aggressive barrels. Talon dies again. Poppy looking for it. Again, the one thing I'll say about this Poppy, she does have the name Tryndamere mechanics, so maybe it's a Tryndamere player that's on Poppy for some reason. I really dislike her use of W. That W is such a big utility spell against something like a Camille that you're denying her, you know, the E. That this Poppy is just using it willy-nilly. Did he not have a... That was a bit weird. It did kind of look like Gangplank didn't use a barrel to slow the Poppy down for the chain. Potentially he could have saved the Camille there, but Camille must have made a mistake somewhere along the line. Zoe's coming in to try and help, but the teleport comes down to stop that. And also, again, he noticed the teleport, but now he's, you know, noticed a little bit too late. He will die. Throws his ultimate for the movement speed, but does die himself. And again, that comes from a place of not paying attention to me. That, for some reason, Zoe just killed herself. He saw the teleport, and then I guess he thought maybe it got cancelled. It didn't go through, and he ends up dying for that too. So again, we are seeing mistakes. Which does happen. So far the game in itself is pretty close. Like, the enemy team actually has one more kill, but this team, the blue team, the Gangplank team, actually has more gold. I'd imagine a lot of that is mid lane and top. So Gangplank is nearly on 8,000 gold. Poppy's on over 6,000. So there's like an 1,800 gold deficit just here. And if you look at the gold lead, a lot of that is the Gangplank. Meanwhile, Graves picks up a kill on the Camille, and then mid lane as well. So those are the two big differences. Everywhere else is relatively even. Like, Graves is a little bit ahead, being 4-0, but 5,700, 4,100. So you can look in this game of how far ahead in gold this Gangplank is. He is so far ahead. Part of that, and again, unfortunately, it's kind of bugged for us, but part of that will definitely be from Kleptomancy. He's probably had a few gold bags that we haven't seen. Anyway, the enemy team going for more plays, does get sleep. Zoe does get the sleep on him, and Graves will eventually go down. That's a good shutdown. Poppy actually being a little bit more aggressive onto the Gangplank now. If you're asking or wondering why, it's because she's actually finished like a lot more items. She's got the burst with the Iceborne Gauntlet, which actually, yeah, is pretty decent. So as long as she keeps going and diving on him, he won't be able to keep up with the health. You have to remember as well, she's got Grasp the Undying, so she even has that little bit of sustain. Where Gangplank doesn't, he has to use his W for mana. So you're right in saying he did go for the Yumu's, which again, I 100% think is the correct answer. Movement speed is very valuable. Again, there's the barrel on top of people. Like, it's blowing my mind that this dude is just throwing barrels on top. Again, the Poppy once again goes pretty aggressive. Gangplank uses his W very low. But again, the Poppy makes the same mistake she's done a few times this game. Gangplank probably will die here. But again, you've got to say, why is the Gangplank engaging at that health? Well, because someone else is there. The Poppy doesn't really pay attention to that, it seems. Anyway, a hopefully double kill is coming. Pyke does not get the execute. They're going to ult the Poppy, and Pyke again doesn't get the execute. But they all get full gold from what I think with the Pyke passive. But yeah, so Gangplank dies again. Probably he did go a little bit too in when he should have backed out a little bit. But still, overall good play. It's positive gold. So that's good. So the threats this game for the blue team. the Graves is pretty scary. Like, the Graves can do a lot of damage. Talon, in my opinion, isn't going to make an impact in this game. Because when you look at the grouping potential from this team, what is Talon going to kill? Like, Talon, I don't think can really kill Pyke, because Pyke can just stealth away. The Swain gets very tanky himself, especially when he's got ultimate up. Zoe, she's hard to kill as a Talon because you just put him to sleep as he's running towards you. So I really don't think this Talon is going to have a good game at all. So he is going for the Pyke. He's going for the all-in. They do manage to get a lot of damage. Pyke manages to survive, though, on a very low amount of health. And now the enemy team is going for a little fight with my team at the back. Swain's got his ultimate up. Gangplank barrel does actually end up missing. Swain finds himself in a little bit of a bad predicament, and he does go down. Zoe is also completely out position. The barrel, again, positioning right on top of the enemy team. It makes the Rakan go for the barrel instead of going for potentially another play. Camille puts herself in a pretty damn bad position there. Don't know why she did that, but she also already bought a GA, which does seem that she is dead, so it doesn't really matter. So far, the Gangplank has not been able to make an impact in this whole team fight. But I will be honest, like, that was bad. This whole fight has been a relatively messy positioning. So again, barrel on top of the Poppy. Does use the barrel, doesn't do it quick enough. Throws his ultimate down on the Rakan. Gonna go for the Rakan kill. Probably gonna be able to get that. Stun coming in. Does get the kill. Pyke, Zoe and Pyke get assists. Keep her going. He is going to try to continue putting damage down. Unfortunately, Zoe E misses. She does walk into the sleep, apparently, but Gangplank misses his barrel. So again, so far, I've been very impressed with this Gangplank in lane phase. In this first massive team fight, not impressed at all. He didn't really land a barrel combo, which again, that could have changed that whole team fight. It did look like he was rushing all the barrels and just didn't get a solid hit in. So that is, he needed to calm it down and make sure those land more than anything. I accidentally pressed that button. My mistake. There we go. We're back to normal. Camille does pick up a kill on the Syndra. Back to farming. Again, he's got a lot of farm. He's the most farm in the game, which again, as a Gangplank, to be honest, you kind of should be. If you're a good Gangplank, you're a very easy farmer. By the time you've got Triforce and potentially Yumus, you one-shot minion waves with your barrel combo. So, yeah. So Gangplank, we just saw, did see vision of the Graves. So we do know the Gangplank knows that the Graves is there. So he's got to be careful. He also now knows Rakan is there. So there are potentially 3 people top lane. He should farm this and then just base. There's no point risking it. Like, he may stay to try and kill the Talon, which he is. Or he's just wanting to push. He is actually going to try and go for the kill on the Talon. Again, we do know, again, in my opinion, this guy should base. We do know there's potential more people around. There's the Graves. Again, we didn't have vision of it. That was just a pure guess. He picks up 1 kill. I don't know why he went for the flash. But again, that is where we knew the vision was. And again, if I know we had vision and I knew Graves was around, that Gangplank should have known as well. Because we're seeing what that Gangplank sees. The Pyke is trying to get away, which is kind of funny. Gonna go for a Q play. Does manage to get him a little bit back, which is pretty good. Camille taking the red, Graves over by the blue, but this team actually does have vision, so they do know. They might head over to try and get him. But yeah, God, that Pyke, they have not fixed the spectate sound of the Pyke. He is very loud. Okay, so again, they have vision. He is basing in a vision bush. Camille is going to go for him. You should ult right away. Pyke made a small mistake there, but yeah, he just gets instantly killed by the Camille and the Pyke. Funny thing about that, the Camille did all the work about that. The person that actually got the Pyke passive with all the gold is actually the Gangplank, because his ultimate must have hit the Camille last. Pyke runs into people randomly in mid lane without any vision, gets himself killed. Swain again. Swain is a little bit on the weak side this game, not incredibly strong, but he will be scaling into late game. He should be buying himself a Zhonya's next. Another pick coming out. So again, the enemy team doing very well with picks. Again, if you make a mistake, you're going to get punished for it, and that's what's happening at the moment. A lot of damage coming by the Syndra, but a massive push in the top lane with the Rift Herald and Camille. She's going to be careful that the enemy team have now gone missing. They're probably on her way to try and punish the Camille. But yeah, so what I want to see from the rest of this game is I want to see a massive clumped up fight. Because again, these picks are happening very often now for the enemy team. That might even be a Baron. So I want to see grouping. I want to see clumping. This Swain should actually be heading to the Baron, not heading to bot lane. But he does have teleport up, so maybe that's what he's relying on. So they are actually not doing the Baron, which I actually thought they may attempt it. Gangplank rushing using his Yumu is going to continue going for the kill. Throws the barrel on top of the Rakan. Is going to then run into a Talon. Gets his ultimate. Not ultimate. Talon gets his ultimate. He gets a nice barrel off, and they are going to end up probably with a double kill. Gangplank is going to go down, though. And again, this is what this game has kind of turned into. A kind of fiesta-y, tiny little skirmishes, people getting caught. What I want to see from this comp, the blue comp, is a group with Pyke being able to execute people, with Swain in the mix now with his Zhonya's, and then massive Gangplank potential, where in the next team fight, I really hope that he does hit those barrels. But right here, Pyke is now by himself. Again, a bit of fiesta. This is challenger play, so this is a bit weird to see. But he most likely will go down. It would be actually a very smart move if the blue team went for Baron right now. That would not be a bad thing at all, because look how much time this Pyke is wasting on the enemy teams. So that is something that I think they should be doing. Poppy is in the area, but she can't really stop them, and Pyke actually survived. Very good survival. Very, very good. And that, I don't know, it might be Baron, but it's more likely they'll just kill the Poppy. She does flash away. Gangplank barrels does not hit. Very close Poppy to being dead. GA is back up. So Talon kind of wastes his time there. Swain goes aggressive, does get the Zhonya's off in time. Watch the barrel, doesn't hit anything. Swain continuing, does put his burst out, but again, he hasn't gone for the burst build, so his burst actually isn't that good. Gangplank, let's watch the barrels. Gets a nice little barrel in there, does do quite a bit of damage. Pyke in the backline, doesn't really get anything. Graves is very low though, so let's keep watching the Gangplank. Throws a barrel down. Seems that the Syndra has nowhere to go, so he's going to continue going for the damage. Again, he's doing the same build that I went the other day. I think it's the best build for Gangplank at the moment. It's Triforce into Yumu's or Sterix and then vice versa. I think it's a very good build that works very well together. So if I'm not mistaken there, Graves was that greedy that he actually stopped to do Gromp instead of just trying to escape. So that's kind of funny. That is incredibly greedy by the Graves. And again, that could be a Baron play if they survive. If Gangplank survives right in this play here, I would not be surprised if they try to go for a play on Baron. So Gangplank trying to get away. Obviously, both of the champions have a form of a slow. Gangplank, he missed his barrel, so he's going to die. Both of them have a form of a slow. She has her Iceborne, obviously her E as well, and a Q. Gangplank has his barrels, but again, it's just kill after kill at the moment. Very close in the kills, and the gold, look how close that gold is. There is literally 200 gold in a challenger game at 25 minutes. That's it. That's the only difference, is 200 gold. It's even. The game is even in a challenger game. That is crazy. And these are the type of games that I enjoy, is, you know, you don't know which team's going to win, which is awesome. Camille potentially looking for the blue/pick. Again, running into that situation with no vision. She does go aggressive, which I think is the right call. They do end up probably dying or just backing out. If Graves throws his ultimate, she could be dead. So again, for a challenger game, I will say I'm not that impressed by the constant walking into, like, no vision. It's happened this whole game. Like, these are the best players on EU West. And again, I don't want to give, like, I'm not BMing them. These players are way better than me. And you have to remember as well, because again, there is the classic bronze player that sees a replay as like, I could play in that game. You have to remember that these are challenger players, the best players on the server playing against the best players in the server. This isn't like challenger people on a Smurf. This is challenger versus challenger. So it's very competitive. But I will be, like, I am surprised that they are making the decision to even walk into no vision. That does surprise me personally. A dragon's coming down, which I don't think is a good idea by this team. Swain does get a pick or a grab on the thingy. He needs the Zhonya's before the knock-up on the charm. They do end up getting some decent damage, but he's probably going to die. He does do the damage before he dies, though, which is good. Pyke has got his ultimate still because he got the execute. Talon is on the south side, walking in near the Gangplank. Gangplank's making the right call, walking to the carries of the team fight. There's no point going for the Rakan because he was dead already. Talon swaps position with the Zoe when he actually shouldn't have at that time. Throws the barrel on top, does get a kill, which again, I have definitely taken myself. In this game, I've picked up a tip on Gangplank, is barrel on top of people more, instead of barreling on myself and try to use the barrel to reach out to them. So that is something that I've actually personally learned this game. Now it's the Baron, so they ace them. Pretty easy ace, to be honest. Again, when you have a team fight that the Gangplank can land his barrels, Zoe lands a couple good sleeps, and Swain did a decent amount of damage before he died. Not a crazy amount, but not bad. Again, this Swain is 1-5, by the way. He's not having a great game. Again, I don't like that build, but Yeah, it's more of a survival build rather than I'm going to do damage build. And especially the reason I don't like it in bot lane, hell, I don't like it in mid lane. In top lane, I think it's okay, because where you play Swain, it changes what your kind of role is. If you're a mid laner, in my opinion, you're a massive carry, so you should be playing to carry to do as much damage as possible. And that's why I won't buy Rod of Ages or mid lane Swain. I'll buy Ludens for burst. In top lane, though, it's more about survival and being tanky and having regen. So that's maybe in top lane Swain, you could buy Roa and maybe even Spirit Visage, because your role is different in top lane to it is mid. The reason why I don't like Roa in bot lane is, like I said earlier, mid lane is a massive carry role, but so is bot lane. Meanwhile, they do pick up the Swain by himself. He shouldn't have been there. But bot lane, to me, is a massive carrier role. So why are you building tankier in bot lane? To me, that's a big mistake too. You need to be a carry. You need to do more damage. So that's why I don't like that build in bot lane. Okay, so Dragon is definitely on the table right now. Camille's got her GA back up right now, which, again, doesn't surprise me that she's gone GA, because Camille is such an all-in champion that if you make a mistake, go all-in, you're dead. So GA basically gives this Camille the confidence to kind of go in and go, I'm probably going to die, but yeah. So Talon overstays, throws the barrel on top. Again, the reason, again, I said it before, the reason why this Gangplank is putting barrels on top of the people is to make them make a choice. That Talon made the choice to kill the barrel, which he was probably dead anyway, but he could have kept running. They do pick up the Syndra. Camille's fighting the Rakan. She fakes out going on top, and they do manage to survive with a couple of picks. They should probably leave, because Poppy is probably flanking over here. Graves going to go for a bit of pressure. Doesn't manage to get anything apart from, I think, a flash from from Zoe. Rakan does go for an aggressive play. Both flashes coming in. They do pick up the kill, so it's a 1-for-1. Which means, you know, nothing really is going to happen from that. Gangplank is in split push mode, because right now he can pretty much probably kill anything. Like he can basically ignore the Poppy if he wanted to. He could kill the Poppy. He could probably ignore the Poppy and just get towers. So his build now is the 3 items I spoke about. He's got a Last Whisper in there, and then he's got a BF sword. So it'll be interesting. So he does finish first the Stormrazor, which again, he's doing the exact build that I was going to do if we got to 6 items. Stormrazor very good on Gangplank, because when you're a good Gangplank, you're not auto-attacking all the time with your autos. You're combining your autos with doing barrels, and a lot of the time that will give you the 1.3 seconds difference. It will give you the gap, so you actually get the effect on Gangplank majority of the time. Anyway, bit of damage coming out. Pyke does get a nice execute there. Which again should give them pushing power. Poppy in the middle of like the mid lane fighting the Gangplank, which again probably isn't worth for her. Pyke gets a double kill. He manages to find the Talon running away. Kills him with his ultimate. And this is where the sieging is coming in. Swain goes for a flash play, which just didn't work. All they got to do is siege, be smart about it, don't risk anything. They even could have a split push at the moment with the Camille. Swain gets caught out. Pyke goes for a really nice play. Does manage to get 1 kill at least. Drowsy coming in. Double barrel. A lot of damage coming out. Gangplank with the movement speed buff. Going to be running into the enemy base, trying to DPS as much as he can. And yeah, he's just a monster at this game. So again, a lot of stuff that I've learned. I presume the game may be ending, or maybe this is surrender. I don't know. But yeah, a lot I've learned this game. I've learned about positioning. There's a surrender vote. So I learned about positioning. I learned about the barrels. And we've also learned, this is my first time covering a challenger game on the channel. You also, hopefully, you've seen that these people are still humans. They still make mistakes. There was a lot of blind face checking in this game, which we have no idea why. But it happens. Again, just to also say, a lot of people put one tricks on a pedestal. This is probably the best challenger Talon on EU West. He's named after Talon, for God's sake. Had a terrible game. It's not a guarantee you're going to play well just because you're challenger. You are challenger versus challenger here. And yeah, sure, if you put that Talon as a challenger player on a Smurf, you'll probably wreck every game. But this is where the versus comes into, and that's where I think a lot of the lessons do lie. So that's going to be it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, throw a like on the video. If you want me to do more challenger stuff, which I fairly enjoyed this. It was interesting, and I am actually learning from watching this replay, which I think I might need to do more of. Yeah, let me know. Put it in the comments. Let me know what other champions you want me to see and what you want me to cover. If you want me to cover any pros, like specifically, it's like, oh, can you do a double lift game? Can you do a cutie pie game? I can do that as well. So yeah, like, subscribe. See you guys next time. See ya.